Welcome to the final session of the Live Well Classroom series. We hope you've had a great experience. We've got another great webinar here for you today to kind of wrap up the series. But before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you've got a question for us throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A function. If someone has a question similar to yours, please use the little thumbs up button in the Q&A box. We will try our best to make sure that we get to all the questions at the end. If you need the panelists or having technical difficulties, please use the chat function. If you need any subtitles or closed captioning throughout the session, please use the CC button in your Zoom menu below, and you can have the subtitles pop up for you. And just finally, this webinar is being recorded, so if you want to go back and view the slides and the webinar later, please just visit our website, and we will post that in the chat as well. So today, I would like to introduce Jordan Helcbergier, who will talk about the student experience and the importance of wellness. So I will pass it on to Jordan. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. Like David said, my name is Jordan Helcbergier. I use she, her pronouns. I work as a wellness coordinator here at The Ohio State University in the Office of Student Life, Student Wellness Center. And I focus on outreach and programs for our graduate and professional student population, as well as faculty and staff engagement, and fostering this conversation of bringing wellness into the spaces that you all have working relationships with your students. So whatever that relationship looks like, how can we bring wellness into that space? So today we're going to talk about student experience and the importance of wellness. And just to get a kind of a baseline, so everybody's kind of on the same page here. The Student Wellness Center is often confused with a couple of other offices on campus. So I want to just create some distinctions here between counseling and consultation services, the Wills Student Health Center, and the Student Wellness Center. So counseling and consultation services, they are our mental health practitioners on campus. So we got psychologists, psychiatrists, certified counselors there. They do a number of really great appointments, such as individual, group, and couples counseling. They have workshops, crisis debriefing. They do community referrals. We have a really great working relationship with them that we partner back and forth on a number of different projects and referring students both ways. This is a confidential resource for our students. So if they have a diagnosable mental illness and they need that more experienced professional support, that's where students are going to go to get that confidential resource. Whereas the Student Wellness Center, we are not confidential. We are a private resource on campus that all of our student volunteers, as well as all of our staff members, are mandated reporters. So what that means is that in the event that a Title IX or a Clery Act violation is disclosed to one of our members in the office, we do have to report that to the correct governing body. But everything else about the conversation is kept private. Additionally, the Wills Student Health Center, this is where you're going to find the medical doctors on campus. So this is a confidential resource. It's protected by HIPAA. They have a number of really great programs, such as primary care. They do vaccines. They test for COVID, the physical therapy, dental care, all kinds of really great stuff, nutrition therapy, everything. Whereas our office, we do focus more on holistic wellness, which is what I'm going to be talking to you all about today. So again, HIPAA is protected, confidential resource within Wills. We've got counseling and consultation services, again, another confidential resource. We're a private service. We don't have any medical practitioners on staff. All staff members just passionate about promoting health and wellness on our campus. And so let's talk about holistic wellness. What does it mean when I say holistic wellness? So within our office, we define wellness as an active, ongoing process, which involves becoming aware of and taking steps towards a healthier, happier, successful life. We define it this way because it's this active, ongoing process that throughout your life, these different challenges are going to be popping up, and at different stages in your life, you're going to need different things. I tell students all the time that you're never just going to wake up one morning and be healthy. That's not how it works, unfortunately. That it is recognizing those signs and symptoms and getting the help that you need at those different stages and addressing those challenges as they come up. And just continually that ongoing learning process of what you need in your health and wellness goals. Additionally, we do believe that the healthier you are, the happier you'll be, and the happier you are, the more successful you will be in life. So that's why we define it that way. Here at Ohio State, we do have the 9 dimensions of wellness that we promote to our student population. I'm going to run through these real quick so you all have just a general understanding of the different dimensions. Within our office, we infuse these into our conversations with students, into our presentations, and into our workshops, just so that they're aware of all the different interconnecting factors that may be at play when they're thinking about their health and wellness and how they can get help. So when we're thinking about our career wellness, this is making confident decisions in our major and career choices and finding that meaningful work that combines our passions and our talents and how we can use that to really benefit the community that we live in and find a career that we're passionate about. Our creative wellness, so not just having creative outlets for self-care, but also creative problem solving and how we're addressing those challenges that are coming up, whether it's stress or anxiety or whatever that is, but really creatively thinking and looking at those challenges as they arrive and thinking of those new solutions. Emotional wellness. So this is how are we coping with our emotions, including our stress, our anxiety, that full spectrum of emotions that we're experiencing. Are we expressing them appropriately and managing them with the correct tools that we need? I tell students, when we're feeling really stressed and anxious, if we stub our toe, it really hurts, obviously, but flipping tables and swearing and breaking things, like that's not the appropriate response, and that there might be something else going on that needs to be addressed. So when we're thinking about our emotional wellness, that's encompassed in this dimension. Environmental wellness. So this is reduce, reuse, recycle, everything sustainability, but also the environments that we're living in and working in, and how are those supporting our life goals. So this is definitely a dimension that has struggled this past year. Living in this virtual environment, we've all been thrown, completely upside down, working and living and socializing and doing classes all oftentimes out of the same room. So how are we creating that separation and creating that work-life balance within these environments that we're living and really setting up those spaces to support whatever we're working on in that moment? Our financial wellness. So this is managing our financial stress, defining our financial goals for the future, and how are we making smart budgeting decisions now that help set us up for success to reach those goals in the future. So with our students, whether it's paying back our loans in a certain amount of time, buying a house, buying a car, moving to a different city, whatever that looks like, their future after Ohio State, how are we making smart decisions while we're here now, and locating the resources that we need for that financial support so that we can reach those goals in the future. So our intellectual wellness, this is adjusting to the academic challenges that come our way, focusing on the classes that we have ahead of us, but also managing like our test anxiety. Are we taking classes that are challenging us? Are we taking what we're learning in the classroom and applying it to our everyday life, applying it to those internships, those career opportunities that we have, and really applying what we're learning? Our physical wellness, this encompasses a lot of different things. Oftentimes we think immediately to our physical fitness, so actually going to the gym and taking care of our bodies, but it also includes our nutrition, our sleep habits. Are we making smart decisions when it comes to our sexual health, our alcohol and other drug usage? Are we going to the doctor on a regular basis? Do we have access to a doctor? All encompassed in our physical wellness. Social wellness. So this is, again, another area that's definitely really struggled with this past year in creating those close supportive communities here at Ohio State or back home, wherever our students are learning in, just because of this virtual nature of the year that we've had. So do we have that sense of belonging? Are we creating those close sustaining relationships? Are we networking? Are we able to create those relationships to benefit us and get the support that we need? And then finally, our spiritual wellness. So this is clarifying our personal beliefs, our values, our meaning, our purpose. Some individuals define this as religion, others do not. It completely is up to you. It's kind of a fluid dimension here, but really being mindful in the decisions that we're making throughout our daily life, and is it aligning with those beliefs, personal beliefs that we have and the goals that we have for our future. And with each of the different dimensions, liking to point out that they're all interconnected. So when we're working with students, it's important to keep all these dimensions in mind because it might not be the obvious thing that's bothering them, right? In that moment, they might be telling you that their test anxiety is through the roof. They're really stressed out about this exam they have coming up. But in the back of their mind, what they might not be sharing with you is that they're also really stressed about their finances, their future career goals, about paying back their loans and what this grade might do to their scholarships that they might have. So when we're thinking about the dimensions, if we're ignoring one or we're not talking about one, it could bring others down. If we're boosting and educating ourselves, it could bring others up. So again, when we're interacting with students, making sure that we understand that these are all interconnected and that we want to be addressing each of them as students bring them up. And I've got some data here for you all. So The National Collegiate Health Assessment. This outlines mental well-being for college students across many universities over a 2-week period and over a 1 year period. And this is specifically associated with our mental health here, the statistics that I have pulled on the screen. Ohio State actually participated in this this past February 2021. So hoping to get some new data to add to this slide, but the most recent data that we have is in 2018. And you can see on the screen, the bars on the left are going to be 2 weeks in the gray, and then the bars on the right in the red, this is going to be over the past 12 months. And you can see how students are feeling in the different categories below. So overwhelmed, anxiety, feeling lonely, feeling hopeless, feeling depressed, and where they're rating those things. So students are definitely feeling these on a regular basis over a year-long period here. But as you can see at the bottom, that only 18% of students actually reported a diagnosis or seeking treatment by a professional for depression or some of these symptoms that they're having in the last 12 months. So not only are they experiencing things, but they're not getting connected to the resources that they need to help support themselves. And there could be a number of different barriers in place here. And it could be one, access to treatment is absolutely a huge thing. Stigma or not knowing where to go. Especially here at Ohio State, we're a very resource-rich campus. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of support services that it can be very overwhelming for our students, especially those who are feeling this overwhelming sense of anxiety or depression and not knowing where to turn to get that help that they need. And this is where faculty and staff come in as well, is helping to connect students to the appropriate resource, getting them connected to the support they need so they can thrive here while they're here at Ohio State. I got another graph here for you. So this is the Illness Wellness Continuum. Within the Student Wellness Center, we do like to focus on this prevention category of really trying to help students get connected before there's a major issue. So when we're looking at the graph here on the screen, in the center, you'll see this is the neutral category. This is where there are really no symptoms of any kind of issue with health and wellness. So nutrition's inconsistent, but it's not bothering us. We're not getting regular exercise, but that's not bothering us and still feeling good on a regular basis. Health is not a high priority in this category. And this is really where we're seeing the majority of individuals live, is in this neutral category in the middle. And that's that false sense of wellness, that something's not really bothering us. So we're not going to go get help. We're not going to do the extra steps to benefit our future selves. So this is where we want to take these students in the prevention category and take them and give them the education and resources they need so they can move more towards the right side of the screen and get the good health that they deserve. So this is where we're getting regular exercise. We're taking our nutrition seriously. We are educating ourselves on a number of different wellness topics on a regular basis. And there's minimal interference in our daily life because of our health and wellness being more of that priority. When you get more into the optimal health category on the far right side of the screen, that's where you see 100% of function, continuous development, and taking really an active stance in our health and well-being, regular exercise, good nutrition, good sleep, and making it that priority on a daily basis. So what we really want to do when we're working with students is taking preventative measures so that we can stay on the right side of the screen, taking those students from this false sense of wellness and getting them to make some of those smaller changes to really promote health within their daily life, to be in that good health category. When we're ignoring those signs and symptoms, when we're not getting health, when we're not reaching out, that's when we start slipping into the left side of the screen and we're seeing this poor health start to take place. That's when we're experiencing those symptoms, potentially needing interventions such as drug therapy, surgery, starting to lose some of that normal function that we may previously have had and that we may have previously been able to recuperate if we were taking those steps to be proactive in our health. Continuing down the left side of the screen and ignoring more and more of this, these signs and symptoms, is getting into this disease category of needing multiple medications to potentially just have a poor quality of life, potentially becoming limited within our body function, and really struggling there within our health and well-being. So wanting to take these false sense of wellness, these students or individuals who are in this middle category, in this neutral category, and taking a preventative approach and giving them the education, tools, and resources necessary to really thrive in their daily life and thrive while they're here at Ohio State when we're thinking specifically of students. We've got really great free resources on campus. So taking advantage of those now, as opposed to once they graduate, where it's a little bit harder to get access to those resources, we really want to promote that with our student population. So why is this so important for you all? So as faculty and staff, you're often the person that students will go to if they're feeling distressed or having some of these negative symptoms when it comes to their health and wellness. So students are most often going to confide in their friends, maybe an RA, the staff and faculty, maybe a physician. So appropriately referring students to resources on campus, whether they initiate the conversation or you reach out to them. Students are looking for that support, and it's really important for us to educate ourselves on the resources that are here on campus because, again, we've got a lot of really great resources. It can be super overwhelming. So if we can help get that warm handoff started and get them to the appropriate resource, the better off they're going to be in their student experience here at Ohio State. So what areas are our students currently struggling in? So each year, the Student Wellness Center, in partnership with the Center for the Study of Student Life, facilitates the wellness assessment. The wellness assessment is open year-round for students to take advantage of. It takes less than 10 minutes to complete. It's an anonymous assessment that rates the 9 dimensions of wellness and gives them a score for each and then connects them to resources. That final score also gives them a comparison number to the campus population so they can see where they're comparing to their peers, whether they're below or above average when it comes to our population here at Ohio State. So each October we collect data, but it's open year round that students can take at any time. It's a really great resource as well as if you're looking to have conversations with students about their health and well-being and connecting to the assessment. This past year, we added specific questions on examining students' wellness as well as their sense of belonging during the COVID-19 pandemic and how that was impacting their time here at Ohio State. So I've got some really great statistics here for you. That full assessment we're going to be trying to share out to everyone here today so you all can read the full report as well. So we'll be sending that out either as a link or as a PDF for you to take advantage of. So about 25% of all students reported experiencing daily stress due to COVID. So that's a large portion of our population here, thinking through the stress that they're experiencing. And what we looked at was stress around getting the virus or their family members getting sick, others following safety protocols or not following safety protocols, things along those lines were factored into this statistic here. Our grad prof students had a slightly higher overall greater sense of belonging compared to our undergraduate students. So 2.8 versus 2.75. So a little bit small margin, but definitely our graduate professional students are having more of that sense of belonging to their programs, to their faculty and staff, just to the university in general. Over 75% of graduate professional students reported having a relationship with faculty compared to less than half of the undergraduate students. So what we're seeing here is that regards to connection to their programs and those involved in here. And I don't know if you all have experienced this, but I know personally, I've had a number of students who've reached out for recommendation letters or undergraduate students because they felt like they didn't have that connection to the faculty that they were interacting with this past year and they needed that recommendation letter. So I definitely saw that on a personal level of getting more of those asks from students because they felt like they didn't have that connection with their faculty this past year and being able to ask for that. In regards to connections to friends, 82% of undergraduates and 80% of graduate professional students reported that COVID policies had made it difficult for them to interact with their peers, which could be contributing to, the sense of belonging number up at the top there. I meant to add that in there, but so feeling a difficulty in connecting to their peers just because of some of the guidelines that were in place is definitely another issue that we saw with a lot of our students here on campus. 28% of undergrads and 26% of our graduate professional students reported that they are struggling financially during the pandemic. This we've seen a number of times. In our office, we have financial coaching appointments. We've seen those numbers go up a lot with students wanting to connect with a financial coach to talk through their budget and really appropriately kind of plan for the future because they were struggling, whether it was that they didn't have that supplemental income this year through a part-time job or whatever that looked like. We also saw this through the Buckeye Food Alliance. We have a food pantry through our office and our numbers have increased immensely. So just to put it into perspective for you all this past year, during the pandemic, we had over 6,000 visits to the pantry for students needing access to free nutritious food. Previous years, so fiscal year 20, we saw about 2,500 Attendance numbers for students coming to access the pantry in fiscal year 2019, we saw about 575 students. So really seeing a huge increase in that number and having students come and access the pantry. And a large number of those coming to get access were our graduate professional students as well as our international students. And then finally, 61% of our undergrads and 65% of our grad prof students reported that they are concerned about their future career plans. So what that means after graduation, whether they're going to be able to find a career, not find a career, applying to jobs, whether they're going to go right into a grad program, whatever that looks like, that there's over half of our student population is feeling concerned about what their future plans look like. So how can we support student well-being in this space? There's a number of different tips, and I attended the other sessions, so I know a couple of these things have already been named, which is really great, of ways that we can bring wellness into the spaces that you're interacting with students. So one of the things you can, just starting right off the bat here, is evaluating that current environment and how you're interacting with students. So ask ourselves, is the space conducive to supporting our students' wellness goals and needs? Thinking through, if we're a faculty member working with students in the classroom, do we have a wellness statement on our syllabus? Are we actually reading through that statement and letting students know that we prioritize their health and well-being in this classroom? Are our homework assignments, quizzes, and exams due at midnight at more at a reasonable hour, like 6 or 7 p.m., so that we're promoting healthy sleep habits rather than having it due on Sunday night at midnight and then they're up all night and not prepared for Monday morning? Do we have breaks built into our long lectures or our work shifts? So studies show that building in stretch or movement breaks into longer lectures actually helps increase productivity and attention. So wanting to make sure that we're building that into those longer lectures. And with our student employees, especially this past year, this is something that I really struggled with my students, is, are they comfortable taking time off if they feel sick? So being in this virtual environment, I know my student assistant, she's like, oh, I don't really feel that great, but I'm just going to work from my bed. It'll be fine. No, please don't do that. Take the time to take care of yourself. Like, just because you're working virtually doesn't mean that you can take that you can take that sick day. So really promoting that with our student employees and letting them know that if they are sick, we want to make sure that they're taking care of their health. Grace periods are rolling deadlines. So instead of a hard deadline for a homework assignment or a work project or a paper, whatever that looks like, trying to do a rolling deadline. We're instilling some kind of grace period within there that students can utilize. There's all kinds of unexpected challenges that pop up within a student's schedule that may cause them to choose between their personal or family well-being or turning in an assignment on time. So how can we give them some kind of grace period to help them out with some of the challenges that they may be experiencing in their daily lives? We do see this a lot with our graduate professional students as well, who potentially are parents and having to choose to take care of a sick child or turn something in on time. So we want to be conscious of the different non-traditional students that we have on campus and how we can help promote their wellness while also helping them get the education that they want. Adding in wellness-focused activities, so icebreakers, community builders, practicing goal setting. You can utilize the wellness assessment and have them write a reflection on their results, whatever that looks like, but hosting spaces for students to really connect and talk about their wellness and help them to really thrive and feel connected to the community is a really great space that we can add here within these wellness-focused activities, whether that's jumping onto a Zoom room early or leaving it open late after class so that students can interact after or before class, just as if they were in person, could be a really important thing to help with some of those sense of belonging numbers that we saw on the previous slide. And then facilitating regular check-ins. So hosting these one-on-ones with conversations with students. I know this can be a little bit more difficult if we have like a large lecture, but for some of those smaller classes, being able to connect with our students on a one-on-one basis, having conversations and check in to see how they're doing, maybe some concerns that they have. This also gives you a really good baseline. So you have a general understanding of what their normal is. So if you then start to see some of those negative signs and symptoms popping up, and negative changes, you can address them sooner rather than later if you already knew what they were experiencing previously. So whether this is with your student employees, a student organization, or with, if you do have a smaller class, being able to have that open conversation with students on a regular basis so that you can have that relationship with them. And then they'll feel more comfortable coming to you in a time that they are stressed or anxious or experiencing some negative health consequences. Doing a break from the subject. So during these regular check-ins, you can also get a sense of where they're at in your subject. So if they're feeling a little disconnected from the subject that you're teaching or they're working on in a work task, taking a break from the subject matter, it can be easy to be burnt out. So how can we change that mindset and provide some different information there? So the Student Wellness Center, a number of student life offices, such as the Student Wellness Center, Counseling and Consultation Services. We've got the Multicultural Center. We offer presentations on a wide variety of topics that you can invite into your classroom to take over for the day and then host a discussion afterwards, whether it's on diversity, equity, and inclusion, talking about student wellness and how wellness and health relates to your subject area. Lots of really great ways to kind of take that break and refresh your classroom and get them education that's elsewhere on campus as well. Promoting wellness on campus. So there's a ton of really great things that are already taking place. No need to reinvent the wheel, but, promoting some of the wellness events, presentations, webinars, whatever it might be that are already going on campus to your students. And then, you can connect to the class by, if it's possible, adding extra credit, writing a reflection, going as a group, whatever that looks like, and really helping to promote that and make it a priority within your classroom. This is a really great opportunity for some of those student organizations, for some of those smaller groups, student employees, whatever that looks like, but getting them connected to what's going on campus. Again, giving them that break and refresher to feel more connected to campus and what's going on. And then finally, reach out to the Student Wellness Center for suggestions. So I am in a new role supporting faculty and staff, supporting you all as you work with students in this wellness space. And I'm happy to consult in any way that I can to help get you the resources, training, education, whatever it is that you need to facilitate those conversations to have that connection to your students. So some of the ways that you all can get involved in our office. So some resources that we have a campus health and wellbeing resource guide that we created, outlining different resources on campus, giving brief descriptions, having links to resources. This is another document that we're going to be sharing out with you all, whether it's through a link or through a PDF, but you'll have access to that so you can educate yourselves on what's going on campus and how you can appropriately refer those students out to the different resources that we have. We're doing a big website update this summer and going to be highlighting more and more resources for our faculty and staff on that page, including a OneDrive resource folder that you all can tap into and get numbers of PDFs, items that you can share with your students. We're going to be putting a bunch of social media things on there that you can share out to your students. Lots of really great free resources for you all to just help infuse wellness into this space, really create a culture of care. The wellness assessment, one big update that we did this past year is that we are assessing each of the different colleges on a rotating basis. So each year we'll be doing 3 or 4 different colleges as a focus population and getting specific statistics for your group so that you can help inform what wellness programming you have going on in your college. So we'll be doing that on a rotating basis every 4 years. So you'll get that comparable data. So this, the group that we had in 2020 will get reassessed in 2024, and then they can compare those numbers with some of the changes that they made within their department to see if it's making a positive impact with their students. Workshops, we have guiding students to wellness. This is a 2.5-hour training. We've got 2 more this summer that are scheduled in June and July that you can attend. How to host conversations with students when you're concerned about them, going through motivational interviewing, active listening, resources on campus, how to create a friendly space for those who may be struggling with their wellness. Really great resource that you can sign up at the link on the screen. We also have recovery ally training. The next one will probably be in September for Recovery Month. And this is creating recovery friendly spaces for those who are in or seeking recovery from alcohol or other drug misuse. Link on the screen there, go.osu.edu/SWC workshops. You can sign up. We also have signature events throughout the year that you can submit programs for. So if you want to get involved in our office and promote wellness and you've got an interest in one of these subject areas, so body positivity during Love Your Body Week, so eating disorder recovery, body positivity, body image, all that is encompassed in Love Your Body Week. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is in April, and then Recovery Month is in September, and you can apply at SWC events, go.osu.edu/SWC events. Recovery Month applications are open until the end of the month on May 31st. So if you're interested, you can submit programs there. And I know we're coming up on time here, so I'm going to fly through these. We've got 4 locations on campus you can see here on the screen. And then we've got a number of really great resources in our office. But what questions can I answer for everyone? I realize that I'm right at time here. And I also have my contact information here on the screen. I'm Helcbergier.1. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to collaborate, answer any questions that you have.
I see one question, and it asks if any of the SWC web pages or resources link to regional campus resources.
So within, and I can't speak for all student life, but Student Wellness Center, all of our regional campuses have access to the resources that we have in our office. One of the really great things about the pandemic is that we were able to seamlessly transition all of our programs to virtual formats. So that means that we were able to better reach our graduate professional student population, our non-traditional student population, as well as our regional campuses. So any student that is attending at a regional campus can sign up for our services online and attend those virtually. And that includes all of our signature events, presentations, anything along that line. And we are also working on a campus resource guide specifically for our regional campuses that are going to highlight which resources on our Columbus campus they have access to. So we're hoping to have that by August, September, but we're working on that right now. Other questions?
I don't see any. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to pop those in the chat or in the Q&A. Give it a minute, and if not, we'll let you go.
Yeah. Awesome. Like I said, please reach out to me, Helcbergier.1. Please feel free to share that, Rebecca and David. Please feel free to share it out with the attendees today, and we'll get those resources over to y'all as well.
Great. Hang on. Oh, no, someone just said thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, with that, thanks for a great series, everyone. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will see you next time.